It is 5 a.m., your alarm goes off, and you jolt awake in complete darkness. Your body feels heavy, your eyes burn, and every biological instinct is screaming at you to go back to sleep. You force yourself out of bed anyway. We do this because of a pervasive cultural narrative. The early bird catches the worm. We are told that waking up before dawn is a prerequisite for professional success, modeled by high-profile billionaire CEOs. But for many, that burst of early morning productivity never arrives. You push through the grogginess, only to find yourself mentally exhausted and unfocused by noon, often blaming yourself for a lack of discipline. Recent research suggests that sleep provides a restorative and protective function by removing toxic metabolites from the central nervous system. Neuroscientists have found that forcing an early wake-up call often severs the final hours of the sleep cycle, leading to an accumulation of amyloid and tau proteins, biomarkers directly associated with Alzheimer's disease and neurodegeneration. If your schedule routinely conflicts with your biological clock, this protein buildup can impair your long-term brain health and metabolic stability in the pursuit of a productivity myth. To understand why early rising fails so many people, we have to look at chronotypes. This internal clock governs your hunger, alertness, and sleep-wake cycle, and it is largely dictated by your genetics. A small fraction of people can function optimally on significantly less sleep than the average person. They wake up early naturally, experience no daytime fatigue, and maintain their health without consequence. This is a 3D model of the DEC2 protein. Researchers discovered that a specific point mutation in this gene allows familial natural short sleepers to maintain high cognitive function on just 6 hours of sleep. This mutation fine-tunes sleep homeostasis, essentially allowing the brain to perform its maintenance tasks in a much shorter window. For the vast majority of people without this mutation, the human brain simply requires a much longer restorative cycle. If your DNA codes you as a night owl, your body naturally delays the production of melatonin, making it biologically difficult to fall into deep sleep until late in the evening. Because chronotypes are hardwired into our biology, measuring your success against the sleep schedules of genetic outliers creates an unwinnable conflict with your own DNA. When a genetic night owl is forced to conform to an early bird corporate or school schedule, they enter a state called social jet lag. This is the friction created when your social obligations push you away from your biological clock. This chart maps a typical 8-hour sleep cycle. Rapid eye movement sleep, which is critical for memory consolidation and cognitive processing, occurs most heavily in these final hours. Waking up at 5 a.m. often cuts this cycle short, depriving the brain of its most important cognitive recovery time. A 10-year study from UMCG shows that night owls forced into early schedules exhibit faster cognitive decline in middle age. Because they are entirely out of sync with their biology, they also show much higher rates of unhealthy behaviors, such as smoking and poor diet, as they struggle with chronic sleep debt. However, data from the UK Biobank involving over 26,000 individuals found that when night owls are allowed to sleep their natural duration, they consistently score higher on cognitive tests than early birds. In some groups, these evening types performed up to 13.5% better. The cognitive risks associated with being a night owl are largely driven by the alarm clock. When evening types follow their natural rhythm, their mental sharpness remains intact. Our modern obsession with a single, unbroken 8-hour block of sleep is a relatively recent development. For most of history, human sleep wasn't governed by the rigid demands of an industrial schedule. Historical records indicate that humans once practiced segmented sleep, resting in 2 distinct chunks separated by several hours of waking activity. This proves that while the total amount of rest is vital, the timing and execution of that rest have always been adaptable. A rigid approach to how and when we sleep ignores both our historical roots and our individual biological needs. Long-term productivity depends on aligning your daily routine with your natural chronotype, rather than a generic wake-up time. Finding your unforced wake time is the first step in protecting your brain health. By adjusting your commitments to accommodate your biology, you ensure your brain receives the full duration of its restorative REM sleep. To maintain your health and cognitive performance, stop fighting your genes. True discipline isn't joining a 5 a.m. club, it's listening to your own biological clock.